Hello all, this is the Owl, and yup, we're doing it again. It's time to look at some of your crazy ideas. I mean, perfectly sane ideas in regards to what the hell is going on in everyone's favorite Lovecraftian horror manga, Made in Abyss. Once again, because you all do seem to have good fun with these. Today, we'll be taking a look at some of the better ones, this time with something of an emphasis on people who haven't been featured in one of these videos before. And of course, before we start, if you want to have one of your theories featured, head on over to our Discord and post it in the Fan Theories channel, but keep in mind that I do have something of a backlog. With that out of the way, let's get to it. To start us off, from Malu. And yes, before we get moving, I apologize in advance for the names I get wrong. I just know when we meet her, Lyza will be extremely messed up in one way or another, but part of me is still holding out hope she's going to be how Rico imagines her. Like, give me my happy reunion, please. Ooh, I would not get your hopes up. But regardless, yeah. So this one is more of a cluster of theories that I've just chosen one good example of as, yeah. It's something that I think we will almost definitely see happen, or at the very least. And yes, if you hear any weird noises, that's Baby Owl in the background. I would be extraordinarily surprised if we didn't. Rico's quest to find her mother Lyza at the bottom of the abyss can only end in tragedy. And not just because Rico is already dead. Lyza, Lyza the Annihilator, because that's a perfectly normal, not at all supervillainy name, is going to turn out to be our final baddie, and she probably wants Rico for something. So I'm not really going to disagree with this one, because again, I think that it's almost inevitable. But the fact that we haven't run into Lyza yet also probably means that we've got a ways to go before we see the end of this manga. Considering that we're still dealing with Srajo, still waiting for the other shoe to drop there. We haven't done much with Wakuna, and of course, Bondrewd is still lurking around the edges of the story. So it's going to be interesting to see where we end up. And fingers crossed that Tsukushi can stick the landing. Only time will tell. Okay, this next one is a touch long, but bear with me cause it's a goodie. From Hunting for R2D2. Oh, I see, Hunting for R2D2, that's funny. I've got a pretty interesting theory about Srajo and what her relic may be. What is particularly intriguing about her design is the various whistles around her neck, considering how the whistles are seemingly representative of Delver lives, to the point where a whistle being found without its owner is a sign of their death. It makes me wonder if the souls of the Delvers, whose whistles are now around Srajo's neck, are now bound to her, sort of like an inverse Zoaholic. It could, essentially, fuse the memories and desires of those souls with her own, which would very much support the concept of Gutsu, which will likely be the focus of this arc, based on Pooty Spaghetti's predictions. And yes, this is from one of Pooty Spaghetti's videos. I'll link their channel in the description, you can go and check it out there. The video is called Something Something Value. To further add on, this is Srajo's reasoning for taking her last dive, that being one of her members heading to the 6th layer to pursue the Shrine Maiden, a reasoning pointed out to be odd by Bondrewd due to Srajo's cowardly nature. Perhaps the desire to pursue the Shrine Maiden was strong enough to take hold in the rest of Hail Hex, resulting in their current mission when they encountered Rikor and crew. In a sense, her relic results in a sort of hive desire shared by all bound to Srajo, herself included. This relic could have been used by her to essentially get powerful beings like the Juso to work for her, which would fit her cowardly nature. This would also add a lot of moral questionability to her character, which would be very emblematic of her White Whistle status. Plus, we might have already seen this relic before, being the tombstone-looking thing on her back during her initial reveal. Considering the importance of Bondrewd's canister container first shown off in his initial reveal, I would not be surprised. Interesting, I've always seen that as a coffin more than a tombstone. But yeah, that's a really interesting one. I'm not going to touch too much on Srajo or the Juso or what have you, as I will be talking extensively about this when we get there in my little deep dive series. But okay, how about this as a fun counter? You see that coffin on her back? I wonder if what's in there is the real Srajo. Yeah, so this body and all the Hail Hex folks are all relics. And yes, how this fits with the Juso thing has been baking my brain beans all bloody week. Regardless, it would mean that Srajo is like Kankuro from Naruto, or yeah, that guy from Invincible. A one-woman army that, yes, is both cowardly as a puppet master and is also rather mysterious. But once again, we'll get there. Our next theory is another Srajo one, this time from Rebecca RH. Reg is a Juso turned into a cyborg. I don't know if someone had a similar theory as mine in this thread, cause I haven't read them all. Don't worry, Rebecca, neither have I. There are a lot, but I have this theory that Reg is actually a Juso, aka a person born as a Narehate, before being turned into a cyborg. Kind of like Menae and Shirumi, who looked like they were normal humans before supposedly coming back to life, since we saw them die in one of the bonus chapters, and then joining Hail Hex. Reg died, and then was brought back to life, perhaps with a relic, similar to the curse-repelling vessel or something else. Or something entirely different and horrible happened to him. For whatever reason, he had to be turned into a cyborg with the help of various relics, which made him immune to the curse. As we've seen from Hail Hex, Juso have different levels of being humanoid versus animal-like and or distorted, ranging from Mitty-like, like Frapam, the one Srajo keeps as a scarf basically, two very human-like but with some animalistic features, like Shirumi and Menae. Reg might be one of the more human-looking ones. He already has cat-like eyes and pointy ears. Wait, hang on, I gotta check that. Huh, so he does. I literally never noticed that before. And he might even have had limbs with some animal quality to them before they were cut off and replaced with his robotic limbs. His robotic limbs have bumps under the fingers and feet that resemble the toe beans of a cat's paw. That would also explain why he gets the power of the release when activated by a white whistle, which is something that usually happens specifically in Narehate-born people, and not Narehate like Nanachi or the specific case of Faputa, who was born from a wish-granting egg. By the way, sorry for any grammatical errors. English is not my first language, lol. Mine neither. And yeah, let me reiterate, Rebecca or anyone else concerned with this, as long as it's comprehensible, it's totally fine. I can always say things differently to make them easier to understand. Much as with the previous one, I'm not going to talk too much about this as A, I don't think I could really say any more than you have here, and B, I actually want to look into this a bit further myself, because that is one hell of a theory. Our penultimate theory comes to us courtesy of Pooh Mai, a little theory I came up with a while ago about the birthday disease. I believe in soul incarnation in the Made in Abyss world. I think that a birthday could be the mark of every year a soul has spent inhabiting someone, which could imply, since the 2,000-year cycle is about to begin, that the birthday marks 2,000 years of the soul existing or being outside or whatever, so it then returns to the bottom of the abyss. What if they meet Nat at the bottom, 'cause he dead? Well, that's terrifying. A long shot, sure, but it's definitely an interesting idea. We already know that souls are going to be a big part of the story, as hinted at by, for instance, Faputa and Ozen. Also, keep in mind that the abyss, according to Tsukushi, is rooted in the Buddhist, or at least the Japanese concept of the afterlife, where souls are put through an ordeal for the sake of purification, and are then reincarnated into the world in either a higher or a lower state, gradually achieving enlightenment and entrance to nirvana. So yeah, it does make a certain kind of sense. This last one is from Ardwell, and okay, so Pooty Spaghetti is doing his own thing on Bondrewd soon, as will I for my Volume 5 deep dive next month. So it'll be interesting to see how these two compare, but again, Bondrewd is a difficult character to really pin down. Take it away, Ardwell. Beware, this will be a tad controversial. I will start from the fact that in the movie commentary, Tsukushi has confirmed that Bondrewd genuinely loves children. Writing this genuinely chills me to the bone. Having read the manga, at first I found this statement horrifying, but then I thought about Ozen. We've also seen Ozen being so cruel to the party, and I think she actually thought that she is doing a good thing for Reg while beating him within an inch of his life. In her 70 years of adventuring, I think she has gone quite mad. I think the same must have happened to Bondrewd. Maybe in the beginning, he was a normal person, but after so many years spent on the lower layers, he went insane. The well-mannered, well-spoken, and softer sides of him are remnants of the person he once was. His father-daughter relationship with Prushka cannot all be fake. He saved her. He believed in her recovering from the curse effects she suffered as a child. He genuinely cared about her until she turned into this healthy, bubbly young girl. His insanity stems from his research. He will stop at absolutely nothing to see it completed. His ultimate act of love is to see humans conquer the abyss. I think that, in his twisted mind, he sees all of his acts towards children as contributing to his love of humanity. He sees their innocence and helplessness as perfect qualities to gain an unbiased understanding of the Layer 6 curse. I am not trying to defend his actions. He is a sick bastard and knows very well that what he is doing is horrific. But he interprets his actions as required sacrifices made out of love for humanity. In his madness, he interprets what he did to his own daughter as an act of supreme love. This love is what brought him his blessed form, a new breakthrough in his research. In his insanity, he thinks that his love for his children is what will bring humanity to completion, even though in the process he does the worst things mankind has ever seen. What a sick bastard. Since we are posting fan theories, this is my take on Bondrewd. I have combined multiple opinions that I have heard in the fandom and wrote it as I understand Bondrewd's behavior. Honestly, this makes him even more scary. Yeah, I don't think you're wrong. My guess is that Bondrewd is going to turn out to be one part Shaw Tucker, one part Victor Von Doom, and one part Willy Wonka. I also think that he's going to turn out to be Rico, an alternate version from the future, but we are getting ahead of ourselves. And now that I've thrown the cat amongst the pigeons, or is it the pigeon amongst the cats? Let's call it there for the day. Before we wrap up, I want to give a huge thanks, as always, to my fantastic patrons. Jake Reagan, Piece of Yeast, Elspresso, Question Man 6, Cheerful Satanist, Starwin Marwin, Kel Core, Jacob Ramsey, Crazy, James Bakes Bread, Wargle, Opinion Custard, Lance Goebel, Paul Norberger, Rafferty, Aaron Arnold, The Hedgehog Gamer, Simone, XTC Pill, B Empress, Jake, and Cheshire Quill. If you want to see more like this, why not stick around? Subscribe, bell, you know the drill. If you want to hear me say your name, get early access to most of my videos, have some fun perks on the Discord, and, buy Baby Owl the necessaries, and ensure that I can keep on doing what I do into 2024, why not take a look at our Patreon? If you want to chit-chat about, basically anything, feel free to drop by our Twitch. We generally stream on Fridays and Sundays, or drop by the Discord. Take care, my friends, and cheers. This is the Owl, signing off.